In today's video, I'll be giving you 7 simple tips to instantly level up your writing. So throughout your writing, you'll likely use many different verbs. Verbs are the doing words. They are words that describe the action that your character is taking. Whether they are running, they are eating, they are drawing, these are all examples of verbs. When you are creating a scene, I recommend trying to be creative with the verbs you are using. So, for example, if your character is running, are they just running or are they dodging? Are they evading? So think about how you can use more creative verb choices rather than using a more simple verb. A great way to level up your writing is to master the different kinds of verbs that you can use throughout a scene. I also recommend shortening longer sentences. So if you have a longer sentence that seems to really go on forever, try and cut down these sentences. Shorter sentences can improve the pacing of your scene. I recommend building a sort of rhythm in your story. So rather than having much longer sentences, try and break it down with shorter sentences during moments of stronger pacing where there is more of an intense scene occurring, and then use longer sentences when you are wanting to slow down the pacing of the scene. For example, if your character is approaching a window, for example, and they saw something scary outside the window, maybe the character, rather than having a long sentence that says, character A approached the window and they looked outside, rather than saying this, you could say, there was a tap at the window. Character A stepped closer. They peered through the glass. So this is a way you can sort of use shorter staccato sentences in order to build up the tension in the scene, rather than having a longer sentence that may cover that scene. So it's all about finding balance and finding the right kind of pacing for the scene you're creating. I also recommend cutting words or phrases that you tend to use a lot. Now, I have a word that I tend to use a lot, which I've been noticing lately, and it's slightly. So every time I write it, it's like, they do this slightly. She said this slightly. So this is the word that I tend to use the most. But when you are creating your story, try and pay attention to the words you tend to use the most and see if you can cut down on those words or phrases. Because if it is something that you use quite often, you may have a much better word choice you could use instead. So pay attention to the words you use most often and try and replace it with something else. In order to improve your writing, I also recommend showing through the action rather than description. Try and balance this showing more than telling. Try to reveal what the characters are feeling or thinking based on their actions, and this can reveal a lot more about who this character is and the world you're creating, rather than simply describing it through lengthy descriptions. Also ensure that every character's dialogue makes sense for their character. Ensure that when the characters are speaking, it is easy to tell which character is speaking just from the way they are saying it. Every character should have a unique method and manner of speaking, and this method of speaking can reveal a lot more about who your character is under the surface. So think about when you're writing your character's dialogue, how you can write it in such a way that reveals more about your character's personality. Does this character swear more often? Is this character really blunt in their dialogue? Are they overly friendly or optimistic? All of these little subtle details can reveal more about your character, and it can also help you to instantly level up your dialogue writing. But in this as well, I also recommend eliminating any filler dialogue that doesn't move the story forward. So when you are writing your dialogue, ensure that when your characters are speaking, it is always moving forward the story in some way. And this not only applies to dialogue, but any of your writing. Ensure that when you are writing a scene, avoid long paragraphs that don't really add anything to the story. When you are adding something to the story and writing a scene, ensure that it is always helping to move the story forward. When you are creating a scene, ensure that every scene has a specific goal or purpose. By choosing a goal in every single scene will always have meaning, and it will always be creating momentum in your story, leading to the most important parts of your book. So don't simply include a scene for no reason. Even a mistake that I tended to do a lot when I was learning about writing was I tended to include scenes specifically for character development. Now, this is not bad inherently, but I would simply say, well, we're going to have a slower paced scene now because I want to reveal more about this character. But you don't necessarily need to have a slower paced scene in order to reveal more about your character. You can still have a scene that allows for more character development. Maybe they go somewhere, but then an event occurs which forces them, for example, in a Magical Girl series, maybe they are going about a moment of their daily life, but suddenly the enemy appears and they have to transform. Think about how you can always add little obstacles and challenges to help build momentum in the story. Ensure that every scene, even slower moments of character development, are always there to help keep the plot moving forward. So these are the 7 simple changes that will instantly level up your writing. Thank you so much for watching my video today, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know if you have any special techniques that helped you to level up your writing, because I would love to hear about them, and I'm sure other people would love to hear about them too. Visit my website midnightscross.com for resources, templates, and workbooks that can help you to level up your story. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!